Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you are doing well. I know the lighting is off. You can barely see me, but that's okay. You're not here for me. I thought the backdrop of this would be a lot better than the hotel that I'm staying at. Just got into town, Las Vegas, for that mining conference. We're going to be talking about inflation, but how it has to deal with what right now is going on is the melt up when it comes to wages. Wages having to try and catch up with inflation. And we're going to use the California grocery workers story, and that story is that they were just given the okay to strike at Ralph's, Albertsons, and other stores. What does it mean? Now, first, I want to preface this with none of this financial advice, trading advice. Do I believe inflation is going to get worse? Yes, I do. And what we are seeing right now, is a very rare phenomenon because, quite frankly, we don't see inflation as strong as it is right now all the time. Obviously, the last time we saw inflation like this was the late 70s, and all throughout the world, no matter where you are in the world, this phenomenon that's happening right now does not happen very often. As a matter of fact, this phenomenon has never happened in Earth's history, and that is where the entire world is inflating at the same time because all of the currencies are collapsing in value at the same time. Okay, so we're going to go through this story about the grocery workers, and I'm going to give you some what I believe to be some very alarming trends, and I believe this is going to happen throughout the country. It says tens of thousands of grocery workers voted to authorize their union to call a strike against Ralph's, Albertsons, and Vons and pavilions in Central and Southern California. The approximately 47,000 workers represented by United Food and Commercial Workers International Union authorized the strike, should that become necessary, amid contract negotiations, the union said in a news release. Now, guys, honestly, by the time this video comes out, I'm going to try and get it out right away because I believe this is very pertinent information. Strike can be over. I just did a video a little while ago, Canadian Pacific Rail. I did the video at night. By the time in the morning, the strike was called off because there are a lot of companies right now that know that this is a bad thing. Strikes are not a good thing. And that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about people and their need for extra money right now. But the facts are this could be a old news story. But even if it is, if you tuned in on this, stick with this story because I'm going to tell you some very basic fundamentals that I think are going to affect the rest of the nation very soon in the next 90 to 120 days, but also the world. It says the vote allows union leaders to call a strike if an agreement can't be reached. So the strike isn't official right now, but they've made that next step. That's that next thing in bargaining. They're like, look, we need a raise, and we're willing to go on strike for it. Now, it doesn't say in this article, and I'm going to link it below because that's not really what I want to focus on. I believe it's over a $5 an hour raise. I believe, but I could be wrong, okay? So let me explain something I believe is very fundamentally important right now. Everywhere worldwide, people are needing more money to deal with inflation. Currencies are collapsing. However, most people, the people that are on this channel and subscribe to this channel, understand that because I've been explaining this for about a year now, explaining that we're about to see an explosion in inflation and that the Federal Reserve is going to not be able to stop it and quite frankly, I believe not want to stop it. That's a whole nother video and it has to do with them being able to pay off debts a lot easier and be able to usher in a new currency, a digital currency, and they need us scared and needing money to be able to do that. So, but for right now, we're going to talk about just the need for money. So around the world, people need more money. Electricity is going up, fuel, food, all that, rent, home prices, we understand. But now this phenomenon is very interesting. See, we're in a very short window of time where, and when I say short, I actually refer to it about a year-long period when the inflation starts to hurt people, hit them where it hurts, and that is coming in food and fuel. I talked about that last spring, actually, 11 months ago. I said that by August and September, people are going to care more about the cost of food and fuel. And even though it seems like in the last 60 days, it's really smacked you in the face, that's because it hit an emotional threshold. But really, food and fuel inflation started back in the early fall, late summer. Now, when I say people are going to need more money, it's because they're dealing with all of these added costs. Well, here's the problem. It becomes a self-perpetuating problem. It just gets a snowball rolling down the hill. It starts small, but as it rolls down the hill, it's grabbing onto more and more snow because the snow sticks to it. By the time it gets to the end of the hill, at the bottom, it's huge. And when it hits something, it's not the snowball it was at the top of the hill that some little child put together and rolled down the hill. It is now a monster, and that's what's happening. You see, as people like these people, and I'm not pointing them out because they need more money. They need more money. End of story. And I've worked at a grocery store. I know what kind of long hours you work, and that's hard work, and you don't get paid a whole lot. And but they need money. They don't even usually get discounts in grocery stores. At least when I worked at Albertsons, we didn't. So what happens is they go to the grocery store, the unions do, and demand more money through strikes or whatever. They eventually get it. And this is coming at a time, strikes are very, very powerful because there's nobody to hire. The grocery store is having a hard enough time bringing on union labor, let alone if they had to bring on, and I hate using the word scabs, but that is the word that union members call people that during a time of strike will come in and work part-time for a company that's in contract negotiations. They call them scabs. And so what happens is we see a situation where the store now has to pay more, or it's going to close its doors, right? So it's going to hit their bottom line, but that's not how it works. You see these companies, they turn around and go, okay, we're going to get ours, we're going to raise prices. And so then it becomes more and more expensive for everybody. Now, again, I'm not pointing the blame at the union that is doing this. They need it. But this is a fundamental breakdown of our currency and our current system when it comes to the Federal Reserve or monetary policy, right? Both government and private. And the Federal Reserve is private. It's a private bank. For those of you that don't know, welcome to reality. And I say that joyfully. If this is the first time you understood or realized that the Federal Reserve is a private bank and they are in this system for their own gain, not for the government. So every time the government needs money, they have to go to the Federal Reserve and take out a loan. This is very serious. People need to realize they don't teach this in schools because they don't want you to know this. And so what's happening is things are going to get worse. They're going to get out of control. And I just told a family member of mine today that, he was asking, well, how much worse do you think this is going to get? And I'm all, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I can tell you this. It is going to get much worse before it gets better. Because ultimately the one cure for high prices is high prices themselves. When things get so expensive that you're not willing to pay for them, then the company that's selling it or whoever's selling you something has to rethink and go, well, do I want to survive or do I want to close my doors? And so they lower their prices. And the problem is right now what we are seeing, guys, is we still have crazy people out there buying up real estate. They're going on vacations. It's spring break. I mean, I'm here in Vegas. I'm seeing all kinds of people pulling in right now. People aren't, holding back because they've been cooped up in their homes for, essentially a couple of years, with a very small break in between. So that is dangerous. That is going to add fuel to this fire, and it is going to jump in magnitudes of what you've already seen. Now, I'm going to leave you with something positive because these are facts. This is how it is going to play out. Here's the positive side. When the day comes and it's going to get much worse, the prices are going to get higher, people are going to freak out and they're going to stop spending. And then you're going to find yourself in a deflationary spiral, the opposite of what's going on right now. Prices and wages are going up, and then it's going to collapse. And there are going to be more opportunities than you could shake a stick at. Everything from buying businesses to buying homes to buying luxury items. It is going to be 2009 on steroids. And so what I hope, and if you're new, please consider subscribing because I have started this, I don't know, lack of better words, this channel is totally blessed. This group called NinjaNation. It's a bunch of human beings worldwide that are prepared and not scared. They see the future, they see the trends, and they're not swayed by the minutia of day-to-day market moves and real estate moves and things like that. They're waiting for this pullback. And when everyone else is running, you're all about to become firemen, financial firemen. As everyone's running from the buildings and throwing their titles of their cars in the air and their deeds to their homes, you're gonna be running in, grabbing as many as you can, because you're prepared and not scared. And then you're going to take those things and you're going to be good to humanity. Yes, we're all going to get wealthy. That is the idea, however, but the real main purpose is to help people. And I think that's the most important part. Guys, we're going to be in the greatest financial revival you've ever seen. And if you don't mind, if you've made it this far, hashtag financial revival in this video, because I think it's important for people to start getting it through their minds. This is not something to be scared of. This is something to be excited about, because we can only warn so many people. And out of all the people we warn, only 1% of them will actually do something. All right, guys, that being said, I'm going to link the story below. Thank you so much for watching. The Economic Ninja is out.